Hey guys, let's talk about distance on a graph. So if we go to slide 2, if we wanted to find the distance between 2 points, we could just count the spaces in between. We like to call them little bunny hops. So you can literally hop your way down from A to B. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bunny hops. So this is 9. And since they didn't tell us it was inches or anything, we'll just call it units. Those are 9 units apart. Okay, we can do the same thing from D to C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hops away. So this is 6 units. Go ahead and do from D to E. Okay, from D to E, we should be going 1, 2, 3, 4 hops. So 4 units. Make sure you're counting the spaces in between, or the blocks, or the bunny hops, not each corner. That is something different. Okay, that's nice and easy if you have the grid and if they're not too far away from each other. But sometimes I'm just going to give you the 2 points. I'm not even going to give you a picture of a graph or anything. So let's talk about how we could find it then. So let's talk through a few situations. First is if 2 points are in the same quadrant. So I'm just going to plot some points over here so we can kind of see how this works. So I have a point here and here that is at 1, 3, and 4, 3. Those are my 2 points. I can go ahead and check with my bunny hops. 1, 2, 3 spaces. I know my answer is going to be 3. But without using my bunny hops and without having to graph it, how could I figure this out? So when I look at my 2 original points, I can see that the y's are in common. They both have a 3 in the y, so I don't need to look at those. I'm going to look at the other 2 numbers, a 1 and a 4. Think about it. Is there anything I can do with a 1 and a 4 that would give me 3 as the answer? I could subtract them. That's exactly what we're going to do, except we're not just going to subtract the 2 numbers, because if I had plotted this somewhere else, they might be negative, and we haven't really done negatives yet. So we're going to subtract the absolute values. So I'm going to take the absolute value of 4 minus the absolute value of 1. Well, that's just 4 minus 1, which equals 3. So anytime our 2 points are in the same quadrant, we will subtract the absolute values. Okay, again, always look for the number that's not in common. That's what we're going to subtract. And one extra thing is we want to make sure we put the bigger number first, so I had to flip-flop it and put the 4 first and the 1 second, just so I can subtract that properly. All right, let's think about another scenario. So what if they're in different quadrants? We would subtract if they're in the same quadrant, but what if they're in 2 different quadrants? So I'm going to put a point here and here. So that is at -4, 2, and -4, -4. So if I check with my bunny hops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6 spaces away, so I know my answer is 6. When I look at my original ordered pairs, they both have a -4 for the x, so I want to look at the y's. I have a 2 and a -4. Is there anything I could do with a 2 and a -4 to get to 6? Well, we subtracted when they were in the same quadrant, so now that they're in different quadrants, we actually want to add them. But again, we're going to add the absolute values. So I'm going to take the absolute value of 2 plus the absolute value of -4. Well, that's just 2 plus 4, which equals 6. Okay, and think about it. This makes perfect sense why we're adding it, because to get from my -4, 2 to the x-axis, right there, that's 2 spaces. To get from my -4, -4 up to the x-axis, that's 4 spaces. So to find the whole distance between them, I just add those 2 numbers, and distance is always positive, so that's why we're using those absolute values. Okay, let's talk through let's write the rule. We're going to add absolute values anytime they are different quadrants. Okay, so finally, one more situation. If one of the points is on the axis, what are we going to do then? So I'm going to put a point here at this spot and this spot. So I've got 0, -3, and 4, -3. Okay. Scoot this up a little so I got a little bit more space. Okay. So if I do my bunny hops, 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 4 as my answer. Again, looking at my two original points, the -3s, the y's, those were in common. So I really want to look at the 0 and the 4. What can I do with a 0 and a 4 to get to 4 as my answer? Well, maybe you thought I could subtract them. So what if we did the absolute value of 4 minus the absolute value of 0? Well, that would be 4 minus 0, which equals 4. Maybe you thought I could add them. The absolute value of 4 plus the absolute value of 0. Well, that's just 4 plus 0, and guess what? That also equals 4. So the x, when it's on one axis, when one of the points is on an axis, this is a little bit extra special because it can be addition or subtraction, it doesn't matter. Add or subtract absolute value. This only works if only one of the 2 points are on the axis. If they're both on an axis, then you do still have to think about being in the same or different quadrants, and I'll do one of those in just a minute. Okay, you really want to make sure you know those rules, and let's go ahead and practice using them. So I didn't even give you a graph here, but I kind of just showed you the two ordered pairs. So how can we even tell if they're in the same or different quadrants or if they're on an axis? Well, let me remind you of something real quick. Remember, for your coordinate grid in quadrant 1, this is a positive. Quadrant 2 is a negative. 3 is a negative. 4 is a positive. So notice each quadrant has a different combination of signs. So the first thing I do when I get a problem like this is I put the signs above it. So this is a positive. This is positive. Since those two do not match, a positive and a positive negative, that means these are in different quadrants. Since they're different, I am going to be adding them. So look for the things that are not in common, the 18 and the -22. Take the absolute value of 18 plus the absolute value of -22. That's just 18 plus 22, which equals 40 units. Okay, next. All right, start with my signs. This is negative. This is negative. So since they're both negative, these are the same quadrant. When they're in the same quadrant, I subtract them. I'm going to take the bigger one minus the smaller one. So the absolute value of -124 minus the absolute value of -52. That's just 124 minus 52. You can literally do that. 124 minus 52, subtract, and I get 72 units for my answer. Okay, this one's a little different. We got a negative and then a 0, and a positive and a 0. So I know our first instinct is to say axis because there's a 0, but both points are actually on an axis. So here, let me just kind of show you what this would look like. It's going to look something like 1 point down here and 1 point down here. Okay, so since both points are on an axis, I have to think same or different quadrant. So they're not really in quadrants, but are they on the same side of the axis? Like they're both on the x-axis, but are they on the same side of the y? And here they're on different, right? We'd have to take this section plus this section to get the total distance. So we're going to treat this like it's different. So different, I would add, so I'm going to take the absolute value of -75 plus the absolute value of 49. That is 75 plus 49. 75 plus 49. 4, carry my 1. 11, 12, so I get 124 units. Okay, next. Here I have 0 and a positive and a positive. So this time only one of these 2 points is going to land on an axis. So this is when I get to use my axis rule. Okay, remember with the axis, that means you can do either addition or subtraction. So I am going to do the absolute value of 18 plus the absolute value of 0. 18 plus 0 equals 18 units. Or you could have done the absolute value of 18 minus the absolute value of 0. 18 minus 0 also equals 18 units. Either one is just fine. Okay, let's talk about shapes on a grid. So this says they gave us 3 points. They want us to create a rectangle. So where's the missing point? So all you really have to do for this is to follow the lines. Okay, so I'm just going to follow this line over, follow this line down, and find where the two cross over, and that is going to be where my point is. So right here, and then you need to be able to name that ordered pair. So this is at 1, -3. Then they asked me for the area. Well, to find area of a rectangle, it's length times width. So you just need to count your distance so you can see what the length and width are. So I can see this is 6, this is 6. 6 times 6 equals 36. And then it's units squared because it's area. Perimeter, remember, is adding all the way around. So 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, which gives us 24 units. All right, same idea. Go ahead and find that missing spot, the missing point, to make this a rectangle. Follow it up, follow it over. There's our point right there at 9, 4. If I want to find the area, first I have to find the length and the width. This was 9 and this is 4. So 9 times 4 is 36 units squared. Perimeter, I'm going to add it around so you can write down 9 plus 4 plus 9 plus 4. Remember, you can also do like 9 times 2, since there's 2 of those. 9 times 4, sorry, 2 times 4. So I get 18 plus 8. And you can do it that way, or you could do 9 plus 4 is 13 times 2. Either way, you should be getting 26 units for your perimeter. Okay, here they want us to plot these points and tell them what polygon we create. So what shape are we making, and then what's the area and perimeter. So first we need to graph it. So -3, -2 is down here. -3, -6, -6, -6, and -6, -2. And if I connect those points, it creates a rectangle. Again, to find the area, I need to find my side lengths. So this is a 3 by 4. 3 times 4 is 12 units squared. And my perimeter, 3 plus 4 is 7 times 2 is 14. Again, lots of ways you can find that perimeter. I think I've shown you every way over the last 3 questions. Okay, we have one more to do together. Go ahead and plot the points. Let's see what shape we make. So -3, +6, -6, +6, -3, -2, -6, -2. And when I connect those, it again creates a rectangle. Find our area, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like this is 8 by 3. 8 times 3 is 24 units squared. And then 8 plus 3 is 11 times 2 is 22 units for our perimeter. Okay, I gave you a few more down below for you to practice on your own, and then you can check the key.